When we think about environmentalism, most of us think about pristine forests and rivers, clean neighborhoods, recycling, and renewable sources of energy. But some environmentalists have a different vision. They are trying to channel environmental concerns into bigotry.
Concerned about Americans' huge carbon footprint? Then you should be concerned about immigration. Sound crazy? Immigrants produce 4 times more carbon emissions in the U.S. than in their home countries. Left alone, immigration will drive a population increase equal to the entire American West in just 30 years.
Neat trick, huh?
Reducing immigration won't solve global warming, but it is part of the solution. We've got some tough choices to make. Paid for by Californians for population stabilization.
But CAPS isn't acting alone. They are one of a dozen anti-immigrant organizations supported by the Weeden Foundation. The Weeden Foundation gives away hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to anti-immigration and nativist organizations affiliated with the John Tanton Network. They also give millions of dollars a year to mainstream environmental organizations, most of whom don't even see population as an environmental issue and are unlikely to be anti-immigrant. The Weeden Foundation wants to sway the environmental movement toward population and anti-immigration ideologies. And what better way than by creating a leadership overlap between the environmental and anti-immigrant groups that they fund? This is not a new battle. In 2004, the Sierra Club membership delivered a decisive defeat to anti-immigrant forces who had been trying since 1998 to move the club to adopt an anti-immigrant stance. But the anti-immigrant warriors haven't given up, and the Sierra Club vote should be a model for the rest of the environmental movement to take a stand against bigotry. If you take money from the Weeden Foundation, let's look at whom people might associate you with.
The Weeden Foundation gave seed money to Apply the Brakes, a network of environmentalists who want to save the environment by stopping immigration. Philip Cafaro is a member of Apply the Brakes. Cafaro is a board member of Progressives for Immigration Reform and blogs for Numbers USA. Numbers USA funded Progressives for Immigration Reform. Don Weeden is the executive director of the Weeden Foundation and is on the Numbers USA board. Numbers USA is part of the Tanton Network. White nationalist John Tanton founded Federation for American Immigration Reform, FAIR. FAIR co-authored SB 1070, Arizona's anti-immigration legislation. Alan Weeden, the father of Don Weeden, serves on the board of directors of the Weeden Foundation and also on the board of directors of FAIR. And FAIR is funded by the Weeden Foundation.
By taking money from Weeden, you set yourself up so that your principles and goals become suspect. It's time to take a stand. Which side of the environmental movement do you want to be on? When you ally yourself with the wrong people, the impact is devastating to planet Earth. But when you ally yourself with the right people, there's hope. A short subway ride from the towering Midtown Manhattan offices of the Weeden Foundation is a Bronx-based community organization who understands these connections and is taking the lead to save the environmental movement.
I saw this video that Rachel Maddow did, right, on SB 1070, all these senators, and where she talks about who's behind it. So we decided to do this action. You know, it was important to hit the matrix of all of this racism and anti-immigrant hatred. And the research team that was in charge of finding all this information was led by 7 youth.
Our brains were hurting at the end of the day, but we found out so many things, and we found out, you know, how these organizations fund each other and they're all interconnected. And, you know, I didn't know the movement was so big because it's so covert and everything. So it was just really shocking. And, you know, it's exciting to be able to do something about it.
America is a country comprised of immigrants. Everyone came from somewhere else, whether they know it or not. So I feel like that's really hypocritical of them to say, you know, you're an immigrant, you're new here, so, you know, you gotta leave. Like, why don't you come with me? You know, come on, let's all go back home then, if that's the case.
They have this idea that people of color, we are populating, we're just devastating this earth. And the only people that have the right to control the earth and govern, right, and benefit from the earth should be white people, right? This idea of manifest destiny. This is why people took over these lands, right? This is not anything new.
We had this whole group of anti-immigrant organizations, and Weeden was one of them. And we started looking up where are they located, and then, oh my God, they have an office in Manhattan. And we were like, oh yes, let's hit it.
What people, much like the Weeden Foundation, don't seem to understand is that unless you're a Native American, we all come from immigrant ancestors. So why the hate? Why the ignorance? Why, knowing this, do foundations like the Weeden Foundation continue to fund this cycle of hate and attack towards immigrants? These racist accusations that Weeden continues to fund, talking about how immigrants are the reason for environmental problems.
And our people, all the traditions, indigenous, African, Asian, we all come from the land, and we come from people who have for a long time lived in harmony with the earth. And in fact, our people continue to fight back in Africa, back in Latin America, so that we can live in a sustainable way.
Educational deportation! Educational deportation! Educational deportation! Educational deportation! Educational deportation! Educational deportation!
We pledge that we will embrace diversity and reject racism as we confront the serious environmental challenges before us.
We will not adopt the message that immigrants are the cause of environmental problems.
We will support the human and civil rights of immigrants and refugees.
We will solve our environmental problems and the challenges facing our society through the energy, vision, and commitment of all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, or national origin.